Oh, hi everybody. How you doing? Ezra Levant here. I'm the Rebel Commander here at rebelnews.com. It's July 13th. Welcome to our live stream. We call our live stream a super chat because that's what YouTube calls it. To make your comments stand out brightly, just chip in a few bucks, and as you can see, like pink Phoenix nails, everyone will see it. And I make a point of reading the super chats because we actually get to keep 7% of the super chat dough. I think 30% is quite a large commission for YouTube to take, but I'm grateful for the remainder since we've been demonetized along with all other conservative YouTubers. So Pink Phoenix Nails chips in $2 and says, YouTube took away my unicorn super sticker. Well, I still have to learn more about super stickers and things of that sort. I'm just grateful that you're here. What we've been doing, actually we started this about 3 months ago when the pandemic really got going. When people were in lockdown at their homes and there was so much to talk about anyways, we thought, well, why don't we do two things, cover a lot more ground and give people something to watch in the middle of the day if they're at home. And unfortunately, a lot of people are still in a form of lockdown. For much of Canada and the United States, restaurants are not open as usual. Things are still boarded up. In fact, the weirdest thing is, now that the curve is so completely flattened, I mean, I saw a headline the other day, 6 days straight in Manitoba, not a single new case. Not a single new person going to the hospital, not a single new person dying. I mean, no new cases. It's over. So why are municipalities and regions across Canada just bringing in mandatory mask bylaws now? I mean, I've seen the science, I've seen the arguments both ways. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, all right. But if wearing a mask makes sense, why didn't we do it in March and April? You know, the peak of the pandemic was in April. Around mid-April, in fact. The lockdown order, at least in Ontario, came, I think, on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. So April, May, June, July. Did that April, May, June, July. 4 months into it. The curve came and went. Now we're making the mask mandatory. If there was science behind it, why didn't we make masks mandatory 30, 60, 90, 120 days ago? Now we know so much more. We know, for example, the pandemic is over, but we also know that the disease cannot be communicated through casual outdoor contact. I don't get it. My theory is, number one, they want to keep people in that state of fear. Number two, they want to keep people compliant. Number three, they bought 2 billion masks at probably 100 times the market rate. I'm talking about Justin Trudeau. And so now they have to get rid of the masks somehow. And if they just dump them into the sea, people would say, why did you spend $2 billion on a bunch of useless made in China masks? But if they forced everyone to wear them, then they would say, oh, we need the masks, you have to wear them. That's my theory. I don't know if you know this, but we had a very busy week last week, lots of exciting things happening. My book, China Virus, how Justin Trudeau's pro-communist ideology is putting Canadians in danger, did really well last week. We announced an event. We announced a book launch in the Edmonton area, in Sherwood Park to be precise. Going out there on July 21st, it's going to be a hoot. 8 days from now, actually. We're going to start going and doing the book launch where the lockdown is being lifted. So obviously we're starting in places like Alberta, but we'll move to Toronto soon enough. So it was a great week, and of course David Menzies was doing a great job doing his coverage of various things, including Antifa, and Sheila and Kian were doing great, and we had a visitor, a new potential reporter from BC actually, in town for the day on Friday. So it was such a busy day, everything was going great. And here at Rebel News, we have a staff meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where we get everybody, hey, how you doing today? And our folks out west joined by Skype. And then we have a wrap-up call, same people, at 5 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Mountain. So everyone just sort of, how did the day go? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? It's just usually quick meetings, 20 minutes, usually, sometimes half an hour or more. So there we are, our Friday. Exhausting week, great week, super duper week. Felt like ending your marathon. You know, you're glad, but you feel like you accomplished something. That's how I felt last week. A lot of things were going right. And then at 4:48 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, we get an email at 4:48 p.m. Eastern Time on a Friday afternoon. You know that in the world of politics, Friday afternoons are when governments dump bad news that they want to die, right? Because just like we were about to go home for the weekend, every other reporter was about to go home for the weekend, and they weren't really going to stop their weekend plans to come back to the office. And then Saturday, Sunday, they were going to do weekendy things. And by the time Monday rolls around, everything's, the oomph has gone out of it. It's old news already. That's why governments dump things on Friday afternoons. And Amazon is as political as it gets. It's owned by Jeff Bezos, Lex Luthor, as he looks like. He also owns the Washington Post. He's a hyper-political person. So on Friday at 4:48 p.m., we get this email. Do you have that email handy, Justin? And I didn't see it come in immediately. I was on the phone or something. The short one. So it comes in at 4:48, and I didn't look at my email between 4:48 and 5-ish when I go into the meeting. And I sit down, and our VP says, did you see? Amazon has banned your book. And here's the email. Pump it up so I can read it here. So can you see the time there? Is the time stamp on there? 4:48 p.m. Hello, we're contacting you regarding the following books. China Virus, How Justin Trudeau's Pro-Communist Ideology is Putting Canadians in Danger. That's my book. Due to the rapidly changing nature of information around the COVID-19 virus, we are referring customers to official sources for health information about the virus. As a result, we are not offering your book for sale. Amazon reserves the right to determine what content we offer according to our content guidelines. You can find our Amazon content guidelines for books on the Amazon website. If you have any questions or believe you've received this email in error, reply to this message. Best regards, Amazon. Click on that link. Or is that clickable? Content guidelines for books. So, illegal content? No. Poor customer experience? No. We had over 400 5-star reviews. Other prohibited content? No. Offensive or controversial materials? No. Community guidelines? No. Amazon webs? We've broken no rules at all. And like I say, it was accepted by Amazon. They accepted it. The book was up there for a week or two, and it just went great. And then at 4:48 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, they take it down. So, look at that. When you click it, sorry, we couldn't fetch that page. That's a shame, because we sent so much traffic there. We sold so many books there. The book became a huge bestseller, went to #1 in all of Canada for Kindle ebooks, went to #2 in all of Canada for paperbacks. We were selling a ton. I think it was on track to be my biggest book ever. And it certainly got good reviews. When I say biggest book ever, I don't mean most pages. It's a pretty petite book, like me. It's slender, but there's a lot in it. And I was relieved to see so many 5-star reviews, because that means people thought it was a good book, obviously. In fact, all the critics, there were a few people who gave it 1-star reviews. They were not verified purchasers. They just didn't like me. That's fine. So 5 p.m. on a Friday, 4:48 p.m. on a Friday, they nuked the book. Well, that was quite some staff meeting at 5 p.m., I'll tell you that. We were not, everyone was so ready to go home, me too, but we did not. We had an emergency meeting. We revved up our own website called ChinaVirusBook.com. And we had a form of this book up anyways, but you can see my note there that I sent out at around 6 p.m. on Friday. Urgent, urgent, urgent. Amazon just banned the best-selling book, China Virus. And then I say you can see their terse email there by clicking there. Who did this? I don't know. Jeff Bezos? Justin Trudeau? The UN and the World Health Organization? All of them? I don't know. This is Chinese-style censorship. So, we've done something that I know will drive the Chinese communists and Justin Trudeau crazy. We're literally giving away the ebook version of China Virus right now for any amount on our website. We recommend a donation. The ebook sold for $7.50 on Amazon, so maybe you can chip in that amount. But right now, it's about showing Amazon, the UN, Trudeau, and China that they can't censor us. This censorship of a #1 best-selling book is infuriating. Amazon sells Mao's Little Red Book. They sell Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, but they banned this book? That's outrageous. Well, fight back by clicking here. Get your ebook, sign up for our printed version, ready very soon. Thanks, my friends. We're going to beat those censors. We just have to. And I should tell you, and in a second, I'll invite you, Justin, to click on that link. But it's easy enough to do an ebook, and we did that. But how do you print like a paper and ink book on super short notice? Well, luckily I have a friend in the publishing business. I've written a few books in my day. And we got on the phone with him right away. We told him what happened. He couldn't believe it. And he agreed to physically manufacture the book and to help us ship it out. So fear not. We will have books just like this. In fact, we sent the PDF of the cover and the innards to my publisher friend, and I expect that we will have this book printed and mailed next week. Pretty quick, pretty quick. And in the meantime, if you really, really want the book, you can get it right this moment for as little as 1 cent. So if you click that link, it says purchase the paperback. And you can see the paperback, we've increased the price by about $5 to help cover the increased cost of printing and postage. So if you want the paperback, it's $20, although you can give more. So I'm sorry about that. We needed to have this rush printing. So the minimum donation to a paperback is $20, but if you want the ebook, download the ebook here. We suggest $7.50, which is what our ebook sold for on Amazon. But to be honest, you can type in as little as 1 cent. And I know because I typed that amount in myself just to test it. So you can get the ebook for 1 cent. What do you think of that? Like seriously, 1 cent. Apparently we can't set that up to do 0 cents, so give me a penny. And I want to tell you that over the weekend, 3,000 people took us up on our offer. That, by the way, I know it sounds petite, but I know you're going to laugh. You know what a bestseller is in Canada? 5,000 copies for a fiction book. For nonfiction, I think it's like half that. So this was Friday night by the time we got this up. 3,000 people said, oh, Amazon's bad. And that was just people who heard about it just because we had that emergency live stream. 3,000 people said, I want that, I want that, I want that. So we're revving it up. It was Friday night. Like they really threw us for a loop. So now we're relaxed. Oh, by the way, you know what I finished this morning? I finished recording the audiobook version. And believe me, we're not going to sell that on Amazon either. We're going to make that available in another way. I don't know the way. So I recorded the book in my sexiest voice. I tried to, Gilbert Gottfried is my voice actor, hero, role model. So it's sort of like that. I'm joking, but so we got the audiobook too. We got the ebook for 1 penny, and we got the snail mail book paperback for $20. And we're going to have a renewed push for it. I mentioned we have a book launch in Northern Alberta on July 21. We have enough books for that. We bought them. So we have enough books for the book launch. That's going to proceed. Last I checked, we were just about sold out. I'm going to check right now. I have the Eventbrite stats in my hand. And yeah, we're 85% sold out. There's 134 seats there. We want to comply with the law in terms of social distancing or whatever. So there's 134 seats, and we've sold 114. The wine and cheese is sold out. There were 44 tickets for that, but there's another 90 general admission tickets. So there are exactly 20 tickets left. If you want to come to our China virus book launch in the Edmonton area in 8 days from now, there are 20 tickets left. I really think this is going to sell out by the end of the day, and I wish I could sell more, but there's rules and there's a limit. So that's sort of exciting. All right, let me catch up on the Super Chats because I see some have come in. Vito Anthony D, $5. Do you really believe the rumor mill that Trudeau was under house arrest? If so, why? Possibly Epstein related? No, I do not believe that rumor. I just don't. I don't know if he had any connection to Jeffrey Epstein. I think Justin Trudeau didn't need an American to set him up with young girls. We know he groped women that he would encounter in his travels, like Rose Knight, the reporter he groped in Creston, BC. I think that Jeffrey Epstein set up old, gross political hacks with teenage girls. He really was a pimp, just like Ghislaine Maxwell was. I think Justin Trudeau is just like a player, like a pickup artist. I don't think he would go to a gross guy like Jeffrey Epstein. I think that's more like if you were a senator. I think that when his list of Johns comes out, I think you'll find that they were probably men from 50 to 80 who were rich and powerful, and basically he was a pimp. I think Justin Trudeau was a pickup artist. They're different. Pink Phoenix Nails got my banned version of China Virus yesterday. Oh, good. Good. Thank you very much for that. Larry Sullivan, $20. Thanks, Larry. Zen AX, $2. You called me sassy. Others call me a smart butt. Well, smart butt, that sounds like you should trademark smart butt. There's so many things that smart butt could be a product name for. It's just great. Lesbian Towel, $5. Light fire to Amazon fulfillment centers in the video game Minecraft. Those are a bunch of words that I know what they all mean individually, but together, I just don't know what you're saying. But thank you. Toys are for boys. And then $6.66, which I don't know if you're trying to send me some devilish message there, but I'm not afraid. So that's what we did on Friday. It was quite a night, and I thank the team who stayed late. I was sort of pooped when I went home because it was like, the analogy I used to the team was it's like we had a marathon, and right at the end of the marathon they said, hey, why don't you run a few 100-meter dashes, 100-yard dashes. That's how it felt. But I'm pleased that we have an alternative platform, even though Amazon controls approximately 90% of the world's book market. I'm upset about the censorship, and I don't know on whose behest they were censoring. I think the most likely candidate is Justin Trudeau. We know that he hired ex-RCMP officers through the election commissioner to interrogate me about my last book called The Libranos. So he's done it before, and it is his face on the cover. So, Occam's razor, the simplest answer is usually the right one. But Amazon, like every other tech bro, Jeff Bezos, wants China, a market of 1.4 billion people? And Amazon is perfect for that. Imagine if he could database 1 billion Chinese customers. Facebook's one thing, but Amazon is about selling. And I think Jeff Bezos would do literally anything to get into China, including removing possible irritants like books that criticize communist China. Maybe it's the World Health Organization. Maybe it was just some ninny in Amazon. I don't know. We have our lawyer on the case. He sent another scorching letter today. We'll see what happens. I'm not confident, but we'll give it a try. So that's my own news update, and that's sort of a rehash of what we talked about on Friday afternoon. So if you listen to that live stream, I'm sorry for the repeat, but it was so strange and so spontaneous that we had our Friday night live stream. I wanted to catch up for those folks who tune in during the day. So by the way, let me just make the point. If you want this book, you can't order it right now on Amazon. I'm sorry about that. But if you simply go to chinavirusbook.com, chinavirusbook.com, you can get this paper version for $20, and hopefully you'll get it in a week and a half, sometime next week. And if you can't wait that long, don't worry about it. You can get the ebook today for 1 cent. I would encourage you to chip in $7.50. That's what Amazon charged. But if you want it for 1 cent, I won't begrudge you. Crystal Levant, $5. I was waiting to purchase the book when you announced the audio book. Since your announcement Friday, I bought your paperback and your previous book. Well, that's nice of you. Thanks very much. I literally finished recording the audio book this morning, and hopefully I didn't mumble or have too sleepy a sounding voice, but I was sort of up late last night and then again today, so there may be some sleepy parts. I hope you don't mind. I've never done a book. That's a lot of talking. And I found a couple typos in the book. So we're going to fix that for the print edition that we're doing. So it was a good thing anyways. Okay, so that's news about the book and about me. So let's move on from that. I want to tell you that the police in the United Kingdom, who were once the envy of the world. Have you ever heard that saying, heaven is a Italian cook, a French lover, a British policeman, a German automobile. Have you ever heard that? Whereas hell is a German policeman, a British cook, an Italian cook. Like, have you ever heard that funny, sort of the stereotypes of Europe, who's better at what? By the way, I don't find British food bad at all. I sort of like it, actually. And I'm not just talking about pub fare. Pub fare, you can take it or leave it. I think Britain's got great food. But, okay, that was the joke. They didn't. But it's true, Italy has the best food. And but what I liked about that joke is that the British police were the gentlest, to this day, they don't even carry firearms, which I think is a little crazy. British police were famous for a light touch. British police were famous for having the moral authority of the town, being trusted and relied upon to solve problems. Everyone loved British police. And it was a whole school of policing, a whole modern way of thinking about police. Robert Peel, the Bobbies, that's what they're called, Bobbies. And, of course, a gentle touch policing, based in some ways on the Magna Carta, on live and let live, on I think it was called Semane's Law, a man's home is his castle. On habeas corpus, you can't just arrest someone with no reason, you have to have some proof they did something. All this history and tradition and custom meant that the Brits were famous for their effective but gentle policing. And I have to say that joke I made, that I referred to, that was wrong about British cuisine, is also wrong about British policing. It's simply out of date. It's out of date to say Britain has crummy food. They've got great restaurants. And it's equally out of date to say Britain is the best police in the world. I don't think you can say that now. In some cases, sure. But look at this tweet by the West Midlands Police. And look, that blue check mark, this is real, this is not a fake. Arrested! Exclamation point. How are we ever excited? Guys, we were alerted to a series of racist messages sent to a footballer today. That's what they call soccer. And after looking into them and conducting checks, we have arrested a boy? The 12-year-old from Solihull, if I'm saying that right, has been taken to custody? Thanks to everyone who raised it, racism won't be tolerated. So you got some kid saying mean things about a professional sports player, I think, and he's 12. And I haven't seen the words in question. I'm sure they were mean. Yeah, the internet's sort of mean. And you're the actual police. You are the actual real police. I was going to say with guns and a badge, but you don't got the guns. And you go and you find out it's a 12-year-old boy, and instead of having a stern talking to with him at most, or telling his parents, you take him into custody. You take him away from his parents. You take him into custody. And the grossest thing about that tweet, put it back up if you can. The grossest thing are the number of Brits who were like, high five, right on. Oh, this West Midlands. Update. Hey guys, update. The 12-year-old boy arrested in connection with racist social media messages sent to a footballer has been released under investigation. While our inquiries continue, racism has no place in society. We're attempting to contact the footballer to attain his state. You, hang on. There wasn't even a complaint. You just saw some heckle there. You didn't even talk to the athlete, but you're so mad that someone, let's say it was a mean swear. You're literally, I'm going to use the word kidnapping. He's 12, mate. He's 12. What are you doing? I guess there's no more knife crime. There's no more stabbings. There's no more terrorism in the UK. You saw a comment, and that second tweet suggests to me that they didn't even name the guy who got the mean words said about him on Twitter or Facebook. He didn't even complain, apparently, if they haven't even talked to him yet. The cops are just, oh my God. Hey, let's scroll down here a little bit. Yeah, look at this. 12-year-old being drugged and gang raped. UK police, 12-year-old saying racist shit. Exactly. Oh, look at that. Charles, I'm just reading at random. Genuinely amazed at people who think that the arrest was not warranted, and the replies on the original tweet are nothing short of unbelievable. I personally think the police have acted quickly and correctly. A 12-year-old who can send messages like that has got mega issues. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, there's some funny ones here. Go back to the original tweet. These are replies to the second one. But can you, or is it the first one there? Okay, yeah. Starting to understand this whole defund the police thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, except they only, okay, let's just read this one. 12, oh dear, what he's done is wrong and totally unacceptable and could damage him for life, but please don't tell me this BLM type hasn't added fuel to the fire. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to read them all. These are just random, but I read so many. Oh, there. Swift, sensible action. Swift, sensible action. A kid that young needs punishment and education as well. I don't think that's ironic. Yeah, the policing in the UK is out of control. Now, I tweeted about this. Do you have my tweet? I linked to the West Midlands. The West Midlands is Birmingham, which is a very large city. I think it's actually larger than Manchester. It's very Islamic. So I wrote, the West Midlands police aren't very good at protecting children, but they're good at arresting them. Look at this as one of countless examples. So West Midlands, look at this. Brave victim of Birmingham grooming gangs tells how she was raped and abused by 70 men. Kate Elisa tells in a new book how she considered suicide after first being targeted while an 18-year-old student. A Birmingham victim of grooming gangs has revealed how she was raped and abused by more than 70 men, but only 2 were ever brought to justice. Kate Elisa tells in a harrowing new book titled No Way Out how she considered suicide after first being targeted by the sex attackers while an 18-year-old student. I'm not going to read any more. What's unusual about the case I just showed you there is that she was 18. Because typically they're children of tender years. I've been following the cases of grooming gangs in the UK. I don't even like to say grooming gangs. I mean, to me, grooming is, okay, did you comb your hair and cut your fingernails? Grooming gangs, there's what they call rape gangs. But grooming is the process by they trick and trap young children as young as 11 and turn them into prostitutes, rape gangs. Really the Epstein stuff, but on a massive scale. In the city of Rotherham alone, 1,400 girls were raped. Dozens, hundreds of times, every night. So they weren't like held down in an alley and raped. They were exploited, trapped, extorted, and they really became prostitutes. And the West Midlands is countless girls. So the West Midlands police will use their own initiative to find out some kid who said something mean on Twitter, or Instagram probably, or Facebook, and track him down and literally arrest him and take him into custody, take him away from his parents. So they'll do that. but thousands of girls who were raped. And I say girls, I don't mean young women, I mean girls. Well, that would be against social cohesion to do anything about. That's the phrase they use over there. Social cohesion. That means don't mention who the rapists are. We know for a fact from Majid Nawaz, the Pakistani Brit who heads up the Quilliam Foundation, that more than 80% of child rapists in the UK are Pakistani men. And he can say that because he's a Pakistani man. And the prosecutor in Rotherham can say that because he's a Pakistani Brit. But anyone else who says that is called, they said, why are you attacking our community cohesion? It's insane. So that's the West Midlands Police for you. They're certainly not the old bobbies that engendered so much respect. Let's see here. Danilo Guido Labella, 20 ARS. What's ARS? I'm curious what kind of currency that is. But thank you anyways. Damon the Damage, nice to see you again. Argentine peso, I hear in my ear. Thank you. Damon the Damage, $5. Will Gilbert Gottfried record your next audiobook? I think he's so funny. He's such a dirty comic. I saw his skit, The Aristocrats. Oh my God. My mind is still stained from that. He is a bad boy and very funny. Maria C., $5. I canceled my Amazon account. Political censorship in a free civilization is unacceptable. This is my small fight. P.S. Bill 195 is terrifying. Well, you know, we used Amazon to bring stuff here, especially snacks for our kitchen and whatever, but I feel like how can I give Amazon business if they're treating me this way? I think we'll just send a guy out to, one of our team out to like the Walmart and stock up there. Why would, you know, it's less convenient. But how can I, in good conscience, give money to Amazon after they've been so unethical towards us? I just don't feel how I could do that. Bill 195, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know what that is offhand. Greater Man, $7. What is your opinion on QAnon? A lot of Q's posts have come true lately. From posts from a couple of years ago, Keenan got Q'd a while ago. I've said this before. I think that the whole Q theory is a coping mechanism. It's a hope for a magic solution, a deus ex machina, a silver bullet to our problems. There are enormous, complicated, deep-seated problems that have taken years to get into, and they will take years to get out of. And I think that a lot of the thinking behind QAnon, and in Canada, the idea that we can arrest Justin Trudeau and have a private prosecution. I've met Norman Traverse. I haven't met him. Our team has met Norman Traverse and interviewed him. I feel like I met him. And I'm sure he's a good guy. But to think that Justin Trudeau will be removed by an arrest, like this comment earlier about a house arrest, guys, I understand that you desperately want to get rid of the man. Yeah, me too. This is my third book about Trudeau. My first was called Trumping Trudeau. My second was called The Libranos. This is number 3. It's called China Virus. Yeah, I'm working hard every day to change the world a little bit to get rid of Trudeau. There's not going to be some magic spell. And QAnon, I think I'm not going to call it so much a conspiracy theory as hope based on nothing, fantasy. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm saying anyone who says that there's another solution besides going out there and working hard, trench warfare, that's how the Democrats in the States and the Liberals in Canada win. Every day, inch by inch by inch. There's no magic wand. So that's my way of saying I like Q people because they're so desperate to fix things, but they've chosen a placebo. Do you know what a placebo is? A placebo is a fake pill a doctor gives you that has actually nothing in it, maybe just sugar or something. And you take the placebo and you say, oh, I took medicine, so I'm better now. It's a fake, though. I think QAnon is a placebo to make you feel better. No, don't take, it's the blue pill. Take the red pill and wake up to the problems we have and work to fix them. Jason Cullen, £5, thank you. Tim Reed, $5, thank you. Max Leitner, £2. I'm your biggest fan. Twitter, MaxL_2004. I know you are, Max, because you're super chatting very regularly. Thank you for that. Frankie B, $5. You guys are the best. I would rather send my taxes to Rebel than Trudeau. Well, we don't have the power to collect taxes, but we do take donations. Thank you. Sandy Poklar, $20. Well, thank you, Sandy. Copa de Sal, again, nice to hear from you. Norwegian Kroner. Racism is only tolerated if against whites. Well, it's so funny you say that because I have no idea what the 12-year-old kid said about a footballer. We don't know the race of the individuals at hand. It could have been we just don't know. We're all assuming that it was anti-black comments, maybe. I don't know what your assumption is. But it's so true that some of the things said by the Black Lives Matter extremists, if you flip the script, would be appallingly racist if were said by a white person to a black person. Sandy Pogler, $20. Have you thought of going on Tucker Carlson and walking him through the book banning on Amazon? I'm sure he would be interested in highlighting this story on his show, given his views on Trudeau and censorship. Well, Sandy, easier said than done. You can't just go on Tucker Carlson. You gotta be invited or make a good pitch. And frankly, we just haven't had a chance to reach out. I've never been on the show before. I think he's got a great show. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he would be interested in this story. And let me get on it. I'm serious. I think we have had some American websites pick up our story, of course. No Canadians care about it. I mean, Canadians care about it, but the Canadian Media Party, they're not mad that we're censored. They're sort of happy about it, I think. Man Kramer, 20, I think that means rupees. Thank you for that. Paul Traywin, $10. Damon the Damage again, $5. I've researched the court cases pending in the areas of the UK. Most defendants are of Asian descent. Well, that's the weird thing. In the UK, they use the word Asian to describe Muslims. I mean, I suppose Pakistan is in Asia. Maybe it's just demographic differences or some other usage, but when I think Asian, I think Chinese, perhaps Vietnamese. I think India, but I use the word Indo-Canadian or Indian. When I think Asian, I don't think of, that's the code they use for Muslim men in the UK. It's just how they say it. Yeah, so that's the UK police for you. Completely unsurprising. Let's, in the UK, the society is changing in the UK, and it's incremental, and it is no surprise to me that the mayor of the largest city in the UK is not just a Muslim man, but he was a lawyer for Muslim terrorists. He was a lawyer and advocate, so he's not a liberal progressive like Naheed Nenshi, the Muslim mayor of Calgary. I used to know him. We were debating partners in university, if you can believe it, for 2 years. You had a right-wing Jew and a left-wing Muslim, and it was quite a sight back in the 90s, especially when, that just seemed exotic back then. I know we enjoyed the unusualness of it as a debating team, and we were so opposite. It was quite a hoot, and we won the national debates, the National Business School debates 2 years in a row. Can you believe it? So Naheed is a liberal progressive. He's an Ismaili Muslim, which by nature is peaceful and liberal and open-minded. I love the Ismailis. In fact, it was the Aga Khan's Imamat Day the other day. So Ya Ali Madad to all my Ismaili followers. But Sadiq Khan is not like that. Like Naheed Nenshi, his chief characteristic is he's a lefty. He happens to be Muslim, but he's not an Islamist by any stretch. I mean, sure, he panders, but he himself couldn't be further away from terrorism. But Sadiq Khan was actually a terrorist advocate. I'm not saying he was a terrorist himself, but he represented and advocated for terrorists. It's shocking, actually, and he is the mayor of London, and I'm sure he'll win again. Anyways, here he is. If I recall this clip correctly, he's criticizing Boris Johnson or something for not wearing a mask while he's not wearing a mask. Take a look at this.
What I find astounding is from Donald Trump to Boris Johnson, they think it's a sign of virility or them being superhuman by not wearing a face mask. And I think it's the opposite. We've seen the leader of Brazil actually being tested positive for COVID-19. Our own Prime Minister, who was boasting about shaking hands and going about his own business, caught the virus. And actually, I think one of the most unselfish things you can do is to wear a mask, and I actually applaud Nicola Sturgeon for showing leadership in Scotland. And I've written to the Prime Minister again today saying, look, I think it's important you follow the evidence and follow the...
Blah, 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 he's not wearing a mask. Blah, 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 he's not wearing a mask. Blah, blah, he's not... You're not wearing a mask, mates. And you're in a busy patio with people around you. You are criticizing a rival politician for not wearing a mask while you're not wearing a mask. But of course. Let's check in. How are we doing? We caught up more or less on the Super Chats? Yeah, I think we're caught up there. All right, let's switch to the United States. I saw this, I think I saw this morning. Oh, Kane Enmark, $2. Good morning, I just got your new book. Thanks. Well, I'm glad it shipped to you. You know, by the way, I still have access to our publisher's page on Amazon Kindle, sort of the back end, because we've published 7 other books, each in e-book and paperback variety. So we have 14 titles with Amazon. So I still have access to the stats, even though they've taken it down. And I should tell you, how's that? Is that doing okay? I'll just hold this like this. I'm having some mic problems. So today's the 13th, 12/11. So on the 10th, they banned the book. On the 11th, they still shipped over 100 copies. On the 12th, yesterday, over 100 copies. Today, so far, so I don't understand. So maybe these are just old orders that they're finally processing. So since they banned the book, but I mean, it's clearly gone down since you can't order anymore and since that page is there. So I don't understand what's happening. Maybe people are, maybe people ordered their books days ago and they're just getting it now. I don't quite know what's going on. But thankfully, we've got ChinaVirusBook.com. So I'm glad you got it. Mark Double Z, £5. Huge fan in Scotland. I bought 2 books, and the last one on Amazon UK site before banned. Could I please get your signature on the book I ordered, please? Well, sure you can, mate, but how am I going to do that logistically? I mean, I guess you would ship it here, and I would sign it, and I would ship it there. I'm just thinking of the postage, mate. I mean, if you really, really want that, I would say send it to us and send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we'll just pop it back to you. But I'm like the book, I'm guessing you paid $14.50 for it. It's going to cost more than that in postage if you really want my signature. It's not that fancy a signature, but I appreciate the friendly gesture. Yeah, if you really want me to sign it, I think the answer is to send it here, and you can find our address on our website, I think. So I saw, Trump tweeted this, so maybe you've seen it already. I think it was when Hillary Clinton was running against Barack Obama. Is that right? So this ad, so this would have been 2008. She was running in the primaries against Obama. And she was trying to play up her experience. She really didn't have any experience. I mean, she was a first lady, but first lady is not a decider. I think she was a senator at that point, which is fine. But she was really trying to play up the fact that Barack Obama had no experience whatsoever, especially in foreign policy. And there's some truth to that. Barack Obama was, is that okay on the mic there? Barack Obama was a community organizer, and I don't think he really knew a lot about foreign policy. I don't think it interested him. So Hillary Clinton ran an ad, it's 3 a.m., a phone call at the White House. Who do you want to answer it? The ad resonated and got a lot of critical acclaim. It obviously didn't seal the deal for her. She lost to Barack Obama, but became his Secretary of State. Donald Trump redid the ad, presenting himself as the grown-up to handle the call at 3 a.m., and Joe Biden as the ingenue, or not really ingenue, just a clueless guy. Take a look at this.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call.
I don't think we had video there. Maybe just open up the tweet and play it from the tweet. Because I just had a black screen there, and I'm assuming that's what other people saw too. Okay, so we'll try it again. I'll wait patiently.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call.
I don't know.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden.
He kind of bumps along, kind of Mr. Magooing his way through this.
There were some answers, Shannon, that were word salad. I mean, they were just all over the map.
I don't know.
You know, if that was a selected clip that they dug up from scouring thousands of hours of video footage, I'd say, well, maybe the guy had a bad moment. There are moments like that every single day with Joe Biden, which is why they're having him do as few events as possible. He has I have an earpiece here, so if I talk to Justin, I can hear back from him. Joe Biden wears an earpiece to tell him what to say, and he still screws it up. He has a teleprompter, and he still screws it up. He can't even read the prompter. I don't know if you noticed, but the first two people they had in that video criticizing Biden were Democrats. One was Cory Booker, a Democrat senator, and the other was David Axelrod, who actually was the campaign chair for the Obama-Biden ticket in 2008. That's quite something. David Axelrod's job that he completed successfully was to get the Obama-Biden ticket elected in 2008. And here he is a dozen years later saying he sounds like Mr. Magoo. Can we play that one more time? I found that very compelling. Take a look.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call.
I don't know.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden.
He kind of bumps along, kind of Mr. Magooing his way through this.
There were some answers, Shannon, that were word salad. I mean, they were just all over the map.
I don't know.
That's rough. It really is painful to watch. Justin Trudeau, by the way, has a lot of ums and ahs. I don't think he's losing his cognitive abilities. I think there's just nothing there. It's like dropping a coin into a bottomless well. You're not going to hear the splash. It's just empty all the way down with Trudeau. With Joe Biden, I think Joe Biden was there. I'm not saying he was the brightest man, or there were a lot of problems with him, but I think he's just at a certain age, and he's having seniors moments every day. I call it a Biden moment. I have them myself. I'm tired. I'm not sleeping a lot. I forget a name. I stammer. I call that, Joe Biden moment. I'm having a Joe Biden moment. He has them all the time, and he's getting plenty of sleep. Super Chats, Mark Double Z, £5, Scottish Mark again. Sorry, I bought through your website one book and was maybe hoping those books are sent from your office. No worries if not possible. Now I understand you, Mark. I thought you bought the book and received it in Scotland already, which is why I was thinking, okay, it's going to be hard for you to get the book from me and me to get it to you. But if you bought a book from us that we're doing through the special reprint, then we can do that. So if you just, can you send me an email to Ezra at rebelnews.com and tell me your full proper name, Mark Double Z, so I can know which one it is. And yeah, I'd be happy to sign that for you and send that to Scotland. I thought you had the book there. I misunderstood your first note. So just send it to Ezra at rebelnews.com. Let's check the super chats. Am I caught up there? Not quite. Here we go. MEC, $1. Thank you. Guinea Mama, $2.50. Can't wait to finish your new book. Well, thank you. You know, I just reread it last night. I was doing the audio book. there are some things in here that I really want people to see. The depth of Trudeau's personal and family connections to China, I don't think people know about that. Some of the crazy deals that the Trudeau government has with China, I don't think people know about that. I read some excerpts the other day on the show, including about the family. Did I read about the family? Did I read about Sacha Trudeau? I think I did. I think that's the craziest part in the book. The Trudeau family, Pierre Trudeau, Justin, and his brother Alexandre, whose nickname is Sacha. Just nuts. Anyways, I hope people read it and like it. All right. Oh my goodness, it's 12:50. Well, one more super chat. Happy Sidhu, $5. Toronto Square thoughts. Squatters moved willingly or possible Tory bribed the thug type leaders since over half the tents were empty anyways. It's funny you say that. Yeah, no one ever stays in those. I don't know if you saw David's video. They were staying at the Sheraton across the street. David walked into the Sheraton and they held up their key card and said, "We're staying here." So they weren't even staying there. David did a video on it. In fact, why don't we, without further ado, play a little bit of David went down there. You know, we went down there with our whole team and whatever. So here's David on the Nathan Phillips Square cleanup. Oh my God, did they leave a mess. Take a look.
We were scheduled to come here this afternoon anyways to give you an update on Nathan Phillips Square, but as you can see, the filthy tent city that has occupied this square for precisely 3 weeks, illegally, mind you, violating 11 sections of the Trespass Act. Finally, Mayor John Tory, through 21 days of negotiation, which basically came down to, could you please leave the square? Pretty please with sugar on top. Well, they have left the square. And it's interesting because one of the tips we received just yesterday is that there had been a rift between the natives and the blacks who comprise the group camping out here, known as the Afro-Indigenous Rising. And essentially what we were told is that all the natives had left. So it was just those of the Afro community that were here. To paraphrase the old saying, too many chieftains, not enough Indians, I would imagine. But it's a moot point now, isn't it? The other nugget of news is the fact that, as we brought you a couple of days ago, rather, we discovered that the ringleaders, the Antifa types that were spearheading this ridiculous uprising, they weren't staying at those filthy tents here in the square. Oh, no. They were across the street, right there, at the Sheraton Hotel, where rooms start at $277 per night. We had one of the protesters show the key card for that very hotel.
We're not. I have this hotel. Yes, can I show you my key? Yeah. I don't have a hotel. I have 2 keys for the Sheraton right here. So I can enter the hotel because I'm paying to sleep here.
Now, as always, whether it's a story about business or sports or politics, as the saying goes, follow the money. So where were they getting the money to stay at a hotel charging at least $277 per night for a room? Well, believe it or not, folks, they had their own GoFundMe page, and last time I checked, they had raised more than $49,000. So I wonder how the people who donated chunks of change to that, thinking they were funding an anti-racism initiative, did they know that their money was going to be used for the luxury and presidential suites at the Sheraton Hotel? No. So I guess who needs George Soros payola when you have enough social justice warrior liberals who obviously have more money than brains? And speaking of money, the vandalism that's being done to the square and the graffiti all around the square, it's going to cost a pretty penny to get that fixed. My suggestion to the city is, because they're sitting on a nest egg of almost $50,000, bill the Afro-Indigenous Rising, or perhaps just the Afro Rising, as the case may be. Why should the taxpayer have to pay for this? And let's not forget, activities that had to be canceled because of this squatters camp, such as the fact that a farmer's market was supposed to be set up here on Wednesday, and of course that got canceled. Not that anyone in their right mind would go to a farmer's market with all the violent people that were squatting here. But at the end of the day, you have to wonder what triggered these radicals to finally leave. Or were they really and truly threatened with forceful eviction? Did John Tory have any choice? Because again, as we showed you earlier this week, folks, John Tory has no trouble with the public square being taken over by thugs for 3 weeks. But when those protesters went to his swank luxury condo at 1 Bedford Avenue, oh man, all the king's horses and all the king's men, they were immediately called to restore order. So at the end of the day, much like John Tory's precious condo development, there is a sense of order and safety that has been brought back to Nathan Phillips Square. People and families can once again walk the square without being shaken down by the people who started this autonomous zone and sacred circle. And what did we learn from this? Well, I hope we learned that the next time somebody chooses to disrespect and disobey the laws of the land, they are dealt with, as in immediately. Because as I've said on several occasions, folks, if you do not enforce the law of the land, really, is there any law to begin with? For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
I think he looks great in that hat and those sunglasses, don't you? It was hot. It's been hot in Toronto lately. So yeah, that's how that whole story ends. I think David makes all the points there about how they were staying in the hotel, about how the mayor only acted when they came to the mayor's house. Never do that. That's what shut down the Chaz, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle too, when they went to the mayor's house. Don't do that. The mayor likes to have police and calm and peacefulness at her house. Now I see that the mayor of Seattle is subject to a recall petition. Won't that be interesting? I see a super chat. Hillary Waugh, did you hear about slain officer's daughter posting on Twitter and received backlash for defend the police? So sad, the hate toward the police. Yes, I did see that. I think things are out of control. And not as bad in Canada yet as in the States. I don't know if we're immune to it up here, though. Well, I feel like we've covered most of the subjects, and I don't want to crack open something brand new in our last 3 minutes because we won't have time for it. But why don't I invite you to make some comments. I'll read some random comments, and of course, if there are any that are super chat highlighted, I'll jump to those right away. So I'm just going to jump in. Jefe Villa de Lobos, Menzoid is a cute rig. Hey, no accounting for taste. There's someone out there for everyone. That's what I always say. Wanda Granada, there's limited cases of virus in Canada because the actions taken by government. Jeez. Yeah, no, you got to read my book. Donald Trump brought in a partial travel ban from China on January 31st. Trudeau waited till mid-March before doing the same. Peter R., Canada has a problem with voter fraud. How did Trudeau take the GTA? Oh, listen, the GTA is liberal. It really is liberal. I'm sure there was voter fraud, but I mean, there was no doubt that Toronto and Montreal go liberal. It's basically a party of two cities, Toronto and Montreal. I'm just picking random ones. John Zealand, Poland re-elects a Trumpster. Yeah, I heard that Poland re-elected their conservative leader. I think Eastern Europe has in its mind more freshly than we do what tyranny and censorship and globalism and Marxist ideologies mean, because it was only the late 80s that they emerged, early 90s that they emerged from first the Warsaw Pact and some of them even from the former Soviet Union itself. So yeah, I think Eastern Europe, Hungary, perfect example. I think they don't take their freedom as lightly as we do here. I'm just going to read one more if I don't see any super chats. Andy 504, Jessica Yaniz for prison. You're talking about Jessica Yaniv. I understand that he was finally charged by police. I don't know if it actually happened, but I know that Kian got the tip that it was about to happen. So it looks like we might see some justice out there. I hope so. He was certainly physically abusive and assaulted two of our reporters, including David. So I'm glad that he's finally has the prospect of facing some justice, but I'm sure he'll cop an easy plea deal. Well, folks, it's 1 o'clock exactly, so I thank you for joining me. Thank you to everyone who made the super chat. Appreciate it. I'd like to invite you to go to ChinaVirusBook.com because this thing is banned by Amazon, and you know what? Frankly, that's a reason in itself to get it. I really think so. So I'm going to go now, and I work on my show for 8 p.m. tonight, so I'll see you there. And as you know, we like to close every day. Do you have a dog video today? Oh, Justin tells me he forgot the dog video. You know what? Dog video curation can't be rushed. I don't want you to grab just any old dog video because you have certain standards I'd like you to maintain. Folks, we're going to skip the dog video today, but I promise you that we will have a great dog video curated by Justin next time. And you're probably saying, oh, no, give me the dog video. No. It's got to be chosen with great care. You can't just grab a dog video. There has to be a theory behind it. So I'm going to say goodbye to you now on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World. Oh! Whoa! Hold the front door. Hold the phone. I'm hearing that we have a dog video. I'll say goodbye now, and here's the dog video.